So, thanks for attending, everybody, and welcome to the Q2 Wing product update review. In today, quick introduction, my name is Greg Smart. For all of you that don't know me, I'm the customer experience strategist here at Wing. Been with Wing a little over 10 years. Like working with everyone on the strategy side, as well as these client and platform education webinars that we run. So again, thanks for attending. So for today's call, what we're going to do, we're going to go through a quick customer spotlight of a successful campaign that was run last quarter, kind of touch on a few of the best practices that they incorporated into that campaign, kind of inspire the people on the call for your campaign planning in the future. Next, we're going to walk through some experience updates. So these are particular items in the platform, particularly around experience buildings and features and functionalities that have been added into the platform. So we'll touch on a few new additions here. We'll also touch on the automation updates. So these are some things more so behind the scenes that'll just help make building out experiences easier, as well as like the moderation side, things like that. And then once we touch on those two topics, we'll end with a few developer updates for some new features that are a little bit more on the technical side, that if you do have a development or a technical background, you'll be able to take advantage of in the Wing platform. Right. So first, let's jump in. We're going to do the Q2 customer spotlight. What we're doing is we are highlighting the Summer of SirDavis giveaway that was run by our clients over at LVMH. This was a dual part UGC experience as well with an alternate means of entry that was powered by a Wing form. This was primarily run on Instagram, where users could go through and make submissions using hashtag Summer of SirDavis. We were capturing all of that content within Wing. Then the SirDavis team is able to go through, moderate, and have that content appear in a gallery. Some key highlights and features of this experience. One was the two methods of entering into the contest. One being the what's it called? The Instagram content stream, where again we are capturing off of any submissions that were coming in with that hashtag Summer of SirDavis hashtag. And then alternatively, if you either didn't have an Instagram account or you didn't want to go through the UGC entry method, we also had a Wing form available on the website or on the experience where users could go through, fill out that form, opt in again for some marketing material, as well as enter into the contest. Another thing that really made this successful in this contest was the prize. They were giving away flights, hotel, and concert tickets to the Beyonce Cowboy Carter show this summer. Really big and popular tour. A few of my friends have gone and they've absolutely loved it. So the the combination of the ease of entry using the hashtag as well as the awesome prize that they were offering for this led to this being a very successful experience for our clients over at LVMH this past quarter. Next, we're going to touch on experience updates. So the first experience update that we want to highlight, and one of the major releases from this past quarter, was our new match game template and match game feature that is available within the platform. This new option is powered out of the reveal component, and we'll jump over into the platform in a second to kind of show you how you can build this out. Much like every other option within the reveal component, you can link this up to display two different types of outcomes. You can do random outcomes where you're calculating the probability, or you can also match up the reveal content with a linked reward if you wanted to give out like individual coupons, individual prizes, things like that. So again, in the reveal component, you'll see there's a match game option. Very easy, again, for non-technical users to be able to come in and build this out. You can upload your own branded content, everything like that. So in order to access it, over in the builder, you'll see on the Create tab, Over here in the recommended for summer, since we are really pushing this and want to get our clients' eyes on it, we have the match game with random outcomes option. We also have the match game with linked rewards template as well. You'll also find this down in the gamification and instant win section over here as well, where you can access these. To get a quick look at it, and this will be the most pressure for the entire call, is demoing the match game, where you come over here. Again, it's kind of like you flip the cards to try to find the match, and when you find the match, you make that reveal. So let's go here, and again, what's it called? There we go. You make a match. If you wanted to, you can also pop up a fact or some type of content after a user makes a match. And then you can also have the user continue to play the game from there. And then after a user completes the game, they then get a prize. Now, in order to build this out, you'll come over into the platform. And again, to get here, if you want to jump directly into the template, you can click on Get Started, and this will take you over to the template where all of the components will already be in place for you. So this is the match game template here. So over here, you'll have the instructions to kind of just run down how you'll build out the experience. You can also click for like more information, things like that. That'll take you over to our help center where you'll have that more in-depth step-by-step guide. We also have an asset checklist over there that you can use in order to make sure you get the correct assets for this experience. Now, in order to build this out, so you'll update things like the banner image at the top of the page. We have a call to action section where you can put in information about the match game. And then you'll come down here to the reveal component where you'll actually be setting up the game itself. So you'll open up the reveal component. Over here, you'll see we have the match game option. And if you just put the reveal component on, you can always click on this to come over to this section. And then you'll start adding in the various content to build out this experience type. So the first part is just the instructions at the top. So something along the lines of to play, flip the cards below, and find all the matching pairs. You can edit this if you want. It's just our typical text editor here. So you can come in and add whatever copy you want to have in this section. Next, you'll update the card back design. So what you'll do is you'll go through, you'll upload your card back design here, and then that will appear as you go through the builder. As you're building out the experience, if you want to see what the cards look like and everything, you don't need to click out of the reveal component to do that. If you come over here and click on this, you're able to flip the card over to see what the content looks like, both on the back of the card and of the front of the card, to make building out the experience a little bit easier. Next, you can come down if you want to edit the background color of the card or the edge design. You have the option to do that. Then you can come in and you can add matching pairs. So for here, you can go through, you can add in an additional image for what the user has to match when they're doing this. You can also add text to the card as well. So you can go in, you would add your text here, and you can have that text either aligned to the center of the image, the top of the image, or the bottom of the image. So you have a few different options here. If you want to have content pop up when a user makes that match, you just toggle this on, and this is where you can go through and add in the content that would appear in that pop-up when a user makes a match. Kind of like the example that you saw previously, where I matched the two cards for Bali and some fact about Bali popped up. You're able to do that in this section here. Then if you want to add in additional pairs, you can just click in add additional matching pairs. The great thing about this match game is it is fully mobile responsive, so it's going to shrink the cards down and make sure the cards fit on whatever size screen the user is participating on in the experience on. So whether it be desktop, mobile, tablet, anything like that, the cards will resize so everything fits on the screen for the user to be able to play that game. And then down here, we have a few other options that you can select here. So what happens when a pair is matched? You could either have them kind of like we saw where they kind of do a little flip and then disappear off the page. You can do that. You can also have the cards stay flipped over so a user can see all the matching pairs that they've made. So we have those two display options as well. And then finally, if you want to have the cards staggered, kind of like we had in our in the example that we saw, you can toggle this on, or if you want them to be all on kind of like the same plane, you can leave that toggled off. Now, once you have all of your content and creative uploaded here, then it's kind of like it's just like setting up any other, what's it called? Any other experience within the platform here. So next you would just go over and you would add in the results. So whether you want to do a result based on the um, randomized option where you can set the probability, or if you wanted to set it off of the reward code list, it would be like setting up anything from like a spin to win scratch off. That setup is the same. All right, cool. Let's jump over back here. So that's the match game. At the end of this, we'll have some questions. We'll have a Q&A session if anyone does have any questions about anything that we see as we go through here. Cool. So next, the next release here is we've made some updates to the leaderboard. Particularly built in, so for any name that gets entered into the experience that could show up as like a username or anything like that, we have a profanity filter now that you can that is automatically applied to that section. However, if you want to add in additional like blocked words, we also have the ability for you to go through and add in additional blocked words into that profanity filter as well. What we really primarily see for that is, say you wanted to have a like block out a competitor's name or something like that. You can go through and add in those blocked words. We also have the ability to block specific user IDs. So if, say, you come across an email address or a username that's been that you think has been like gaming the system or something like that, and you don't want them to appear on the leaderboard, you're able to blacklist specific user IDs in this section as well. And then we also had it in a time window filtering option. So say you had the leaderboard enabled and you were doing a bunch of testing before go live. What you can then do is then edit this time window filter to start on the day of the actual launch of the campaign. And what that will do is that will go through and clear out any, what's it called? Any, here we go, and that will clear out any data or any submissions that came in before that. Hey, Caroline, I saw you had a question. Did I get the right one here? Um, if you want to drop it in the chat, we can go through and we can come back to that question as we go through. Perfect. And then finally, and to add to the time window filtering option, we've also added in the ability to automatically filter out bot submissions. So if you remember from last quarter, one of the major releases that we had was that bot filtering, in the intelligent bot defense option in the Wyng platform. So now if you enable this on a leaderboard, any submission that has a bot score will be filtered out and will not appear in the leaderboard. Again, to kind of fight any of those like more complex bot attacks or anything like that. So you're only showing real users or live users in the leaderboard. Again, these are updates that were released last quarter that are now fully available within the platform. Cool. Next, we're going to go to automation updates. So the first automation update is we're now doing an early access program for our winner management feature. So what this allows you to do in the promotion section of Wyng, you're able to view winners across all of your experiences. So if you're running a, say, like an instant win style game or a scratch off, spin to win, anything like that, and a user wins a prize, they'll automatically be added to the winner management tab. So you're able to see what experience they participated in and what prize they won. Um, what prize they won in the experience. You'll also able to update on winner statuses. So if say you have to go in and approve a winner, reject a winner, anything like that, you can also add notes in this section as well. And you can create filtered views of winners. So all winners from like a certain time frame, approved winners, different things like that. If you're interested in getting early access to this feature, feel free to reach out to support@wyng.com to request access, and they'll enable it in your property. And we can also send over some of our documentation and instructions for how the winner management tool works in the platform. That being said, coming soon, we're also working on a prize management feature that will be released to the winner management tab. And what this will allow you to do is upload lists of prizes and assign these prizes to winners in the winner management section. So again, if this is something that you're interested in, especially if you run a lot of sweeps or like prize experiences with Wyng, feel free to reach out to our support team and let us know that you would like early access to that feature. As always, if you do get access to the early access program here, what we really look for the clients that we give early access to is your feedback on the feature. Because it is, like I said, it's not fully released yet, and we are still working on doing some polish items and things like that. So if you do have feedback as you're engaging with it and playing around with the new feature, absolutely reach out and let us know what you're thinking so we can take that feedback and put it into the kind of the polishing of the feature in the very end there. Cool. Next, we also made updates to the content library. Now, we had two major updates here that we can go through. The first one is the ability to delete UGC from the content library. So if you need to delete an item, you'll see down here on the archiving and deleting section, we used to have the archiving option, so you can still archive a piece of content that comes in. But now if you need to delete a piece of content, you also have the delete button. When you click on it, there will be another item that pops up that says, "Are you sure you want to delete it?" to kind of fight that accidental deletion case. But then once it's deleted, it is completely removed from the Wyng platform, and we're not able to retrieve it again. So that is an option if you do need to delete an item. And then we also made an accessibility update as well. You're now able to adjust the default alt text for submitted photos. Now, you can also create multiple versions of alt text, specifically localized around different languages. Now, in order to do that, inside the content tab, specifically inside the piece of content here, you'll see this description for screen readers section. So if you want to override our default alt tag, what you'll do is you'll click add description. You'll select your locale if you want to do specific languages. So for right now, I'm just going to leave it as default. But say if you wanted to do a French version of it, you can select French here and then add in your French translation. And then we'll say waves breaking on a beach. And then we'll confirm that. And now that will update the what's it called, the alt text for this image. So if a user is accessing it from a screen reader, instead of just saying image added by user ABC, it'll now say waves breaking on a beach. So big help on the accessibility side here, and a new addition to the platform. Specifically, if you have, I believe if you have any business going on in Europe, this falls in line with the new accessibility laws that were passed in Europe. So we're supported there going forward. Cool. And then finally, for the automation updates, we've added in a new feature where you can use reward codes to give users extra chances to win in an experience. So say you have a users participating in experience A, you can give them a, hey, thank you for participating. Use this code like HWU2270 in a next experience for 5 extra chances to win or something like that. Now, in order to do that, what you do over in the code library section, you'll see as you go through and you get to the section where you can upload your codes, you'll see this new section here where it says include value for each code. That value, if it's enabled, is how many extra entries that code is good for. So in terms of setting it up, you would do something like codes like ABC 123. The label is not tied to the value, so the label is still what like kind of explaining what that code is for and is shown on the front end. So we'll say here 5 extra entries. And then for the value, we'll say 5. And then that 5 in the value section, when you're using the instant winner selection tool within the platform, will take into account that if a user uses this ABC123 code, we're going to give them 5 additional entries into the experience when we're picking the winner, since they use that code. These codes can be used for both the individual one-time use codes that you can give out to users. It can also be used for the repeat use codes or the multi-use codes. Um, an example being, say you wanted to print these codes on like a bottle cap or something like that, or on your product. We know that going through and printing hundreds of thousands of unique codes is definitely going to be an issue. It's a huge lift and really doesn't make sense to do. But if you say you wanted to use 25 different codes that would be printed across a bunch of different products or a bunch of different packaging, you could do that using our multi-use codes, where you could apply the different values to those additional entry code lists. Um, so that's how you can enter it manually. You can also still import the codes from a CSV file. With this, you're just going to see an additional header and an additional column in that CSV file. So whereas before it was just code and label, now you'll also see a value field or a value column as well in that file. If you leave the value column empty, it's just not going to apply any value to it. If you do add in a number into that value field, then it will apply the extra entry value to those codes as well. Perfect. Cool. So those are the automation updates. What we'll do now, we'll update this Q&A here. Um, Here we go. And we'll just go over some questions that have come in. Um, So we have one from Caroline here. Can we have content restrictions applied automatically? Currently it is only manually. So you would need to go in and review that UGC and moderate it that way. We don't have an automated, especially for reviewing content that way. In terms of captions, we can link in some validation rules or moderation rules based upon captions and words and things like that. However, if it comes to actually reviewing the piece of content, that's currently manual. If you do need help with that, we do offer some moderation services on our side that you can take advantage of. And if that is something that you're interested in, feel free to reach out and we can kind of talk about what that process looks like. Um, Cool. Um, so before we jump into the developer focused section of the report or of the presentation here, if you haven't subscribed to an email list yet, we have this product update email that gets sent out after every release. So you can scan the QR code and go over to that. What you get is just an email. It's like 2 times a month at most, just kind of going through and outlining what feature releases were included in our last product release. Keeps you up to date on the latest and greatest with Wyng. Cool. So next we'll jump over into the for developer section. So for Q2 updates for developers, two of the major things that came in here. One is a flexible input validation for open-ended questions in our quizzes. So back last quarter, we released the ability to not only ask multiple choice style questions within quizzes, but you can also ask open-ended text style questions within quizzes. And then one of the updates we made this past quarter is you're able to now add in, and it's down here, this add validation section in the question. You can add in a regular expression here to validate the content that's coming in. So say instead of asking for a user's email in the form at the very end of the quiz, say you wanted to ask that as part of like a single quiz question, either to start the quiz or somewhere in the middle. You can now say, hey, enter a valid email or create or enter your email address. And if you want to put in a regular expression to validate the format of that email address, you're able to do that. If you need help in creating a regular expression or anything like that, feel free to reach out to our support team. They can help out with a few of the more basic ones. And then if like I said, if you are a developer and you have those resources, it's open where you can go through and write pretty much any regular expression and add it here, depending on what type of validation you're trying to do for that question. And then finally, on the profile side, we've updated a profile field type where you can now make it a public field type and you're able to access the values from those public fields without having to verify a user's identity or having them authorize their identity. Ideally, we're seeing this most commonly for things like tracking. So say there's an example of a user, or you want to show a user's loyalty level or something like that, and they're on the page. Instead of having them log in, you can pull that piece of content if it's a public field from their profile and display that loyalty level on the user's page directly. If it's like a, what's it called, like a preference center or something like that. So pretty much it just makes retrieving some non-PII or non-sensitive data from profiles a little bit easier if you wanted to do something on that front. And again, that's now a new profile attribute type that is available within the Wyng platform. Cool. Cool. So that's it for the review here. Oh, looks like we got a few more questions. Perfect. Cool. So, yep, no worries, Caroline. So yeah, if anyone else has additional questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A chat, and we can get to them. I'll leave it open for the next few minutes. If not, thank you for joining this quarter's review. Hope it was helpful and hope for some of these new things that we covered to inspire you to plan them into your next builds with Wyng. And if you do have any questions or you want to reach out more one-on-one, you have my email address. Feel free to contact either myself or our support team, and we can kind of talk through any individual questions you may have. So again, thanks again for joining, and enjoy the rest of your week.